Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello and welcome to Footy Judgment, people. This is the Rational League. It's rational sometimes, it's irrational the other times, but the guys always want to make it rational, of course. Enzo Mareska to Chelsea look to be done. Pep Guardiola, he's leaving, he's staying, he's leaving, he's staying. We actually don't know. Arsenal fans are happy about it. Liverpool fans are happy about it. Manchester United fans are happy about it. And at the end, he's going to sign a new contract and everybody's going to cry. Chelsea taking steps backwards, of course. Marcus Rashford to Arsenal. The guys here don't want to talk about it because they don't think it's going to happen at all. And what is wrong? And the first super chat here is Formis Gunnar saying, Luke and Kyrie are about to sweep Nobbin's team. Laughing out loud.
Yeah, we are. That's the T-Wolves. We are getting shafted, sadly.
All right. Thank you so much for the super chat. Listen, people, hit that like button if you just joined us. Let's get to 100 likes right off the bat. The target is to get 200 to 300 likes if you're watching this now. And if you're watching this on the replay, 400 to 500 likes, right? And also, we're going to do team of the season at the end of this episode. We're going to absolutely do team of the season. And you know how it goes. But let's get your opinions in. Let's get what you guys think. And big up everybody that is in. How is everybody doing? How are you, Nobbins, after losing the cup final?
I'm very well, thank you. I'm good. I'm lovely.
You got out-tacticked by Erik ten Hag. Does anybody here think that actually Erik ten Hag out-tacticked Pep? Or do you think they just
we didn't deserve to win, yeah. We were bad.
So why was he salty after the game and said Man United were not the better team? Did he say Man United were the better team or not the better team?
No, he was asked if they were the better team and he basically didn't say that they were the better team. He just said that they won the game.
Yeah. Everybody think here that they were the better team, Man United.
Yeah, definitely. Not even a question.
Yeah, all right. Okay.
Yeah, they went in there with their game plan and executed it to perfection. I mean, it's a game plan that most teams have against City, but when you catch City out with them making individual errors, i.e., what the fuck Stefan Ortega was doing for the first goal, and why Kyle Walker decided to look everywhere but over his shoulder for the entirety of the second goal.
That was fun. I enjoyed that.
And then you add onto the fact that Kevin De Bruyne done a typical final Kevin De Bruyne performance, and Haaland done a typical 2024 Haaland performance. City were always just gonna. It looked toothless. Like 5 minutes into the second half, you knew they weren't winning. They might get a goal, but you knew they weren't winning.
That's reflective of our season, to be fair. Like, there have been lots of performances this year where we've been like that. I expect us to address that in the summer window. But yeah, congrats to United. I thought they deserved to win.
I thought Ten Hag set up pretty much the only way that he could to win. So I don't know if it was like, if I'd call it tactical, genius by Ten Hag, because I think even most casuals knew that's kind of the way that he'd have to set up. I think he's almost fallen into that midfield of McTominay, almost a box of McTominay, Bruno, Amrabat, and Mainu that actually works really well. We saw that towards the end of the season. And they deserve to win. I do think Pep made mistakes, though. I thought not starting Doku, I didn't feel like it was a game that he needed to start Kovacic, really. I think the way they set up against
West Ham starting Stones was weird, Rory. He hasn't played a full 90 since Real Madrid, I think. That was crazy.
Yeah. Dropping Ruben Diaz as well was odd. But
it was Pep in a suit. That is like classic overthinking Pep. You see him in anything but not a turtleneck, and you know
he's 2014.
Yeah.
I actually don't think he overthought it at all. I think everybody's giving him excuses.
He played John Stone. John Stones hasn't been as good this year, but Akanji.
It is the problem. It is the difference between me and you. You always give excuses to Pep. If you ask any City fan or anybody, I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna explain it to you. I'm not gonna just say a statement. I'm just gonna explain it to you rationally in the Rational League, and you can debate it. Okay? If you ask any City fan, right? John Stones they will tell you John Stones is our better defender because he inverts and he's very good on the ball, right? He had an off game, John Stones. But if you ask any City fan if John Stones is fit, would you start him? They'll tell you yes. We want to start John Stones because he's our superior player on the ball. He's technically superior to a lot of players we have, right? This is what they would say. Would you start Ake? They would say Ake has been one of our best defenders last season. The fact that they were injured that is not important for one reason, because the medical team assess players before they go, and if the medical team gave the green light, Pep Guardiola would choose the best player he sees fit, right?
And
He
he
dropped
got it right.
Diaz. So my point about that is that you're saying he hasn't played 90 minutes, but he was deemed fit to play this game. So Pep Guardiola chose him. He didn't overthink it. He played the same exact formation that got them over the line for the last 10 games, formation-wise. Dropping Doku, get him off the bench, playing the box midfield with Foden getting next to Kevin De Bruyne, Kovacic and Rodri, Kyle Walker, Gvardiol high on the pitch. He played the same thing that we praised him in the last 10 games, right? The personnel thing is he chose the people that he thinks is the right people. He didn't overthink it by not playing Rodri. He didn't choose Diaz. Diaz is not having the greatest season in the world, right? He's not.
He did overthink it though, because John Stones
Tell me
only works.
Injuries. Tell me.
So John Stones works in that defense when you don't have an attacking defender in that defense, and he becomes that attacking defender, and you remain with the back three. Gvardiol was trying to get high and wide because Doku didn't play. So if you've got Gvardiol trying to get high and wide, you've got Stones trying to push into the midfield, and you've got Kyle Walker being shit. But there was times where City were getting caught on the counter because they didn't have enough men in a rest defence. Akanji has been one of City's better players this year, certainly the most consistent in my eyes in terms of defence. He's performed at a very high level, and he's dropped for the final, which doesn't make sense because he's more match sharp than John Stones as well, as stated by the fact that John Stones hasn't played 90 minutes since Real Madrid. Akanji's been playing week in, week out, 90 minutes in most games. He's more ready for that game, and he gives them more stability. If Ake was available, Stones was the move, but Ake wasn't available because he's injured. So when you play Gvardiol, you need a more defensive centre-back there, which is Akanji. That's where Pep Guardiola got it wrong. He tried to have too much control against a team that wanted to give it all up. And that just left acres of space in behind on the wings, which United exploited.
Can I just say, I may have misunderstood the thrust of what Rory and Tom were saying and what I was saying, but we were all, you guys coming from wrong. Weren't we all just sat here like it's just giving reasons as to why it was Pep's fault and why he should take a lot of the blame? And then
no one said it wasn't his fault.
And then Mo said, "Stop making excuses for him." But I'm just really confused because Rory said it's Pep's fault because of the lineup.
I'm saying it's Pep's what I said.
I'm saying it's Pep's fault because of the reasons I outlined. Tom's saying it's Pep's fault because of like the Stone situation. So we're not making excuses for Pep. I think we've all just sat here and agreed that it was Pep's fault. I'm a bit confused. Maybe I've misunderstood.
I'm gonna tell you why. Because the lineup was not bad. Nathan Ake and John Stones are good players for Pep's system, and he has been leaving players by themselves in the back. You know, I actually think to say that Pep overthought it or chose the guy that is injured and stuff like this, I think that's an excuse. When Pep got it wrong, I'm going to tell you when Pep got it wrong. It's instructions on the pitch.
It's both, isn't it?
No, okay, so what was going to be the difference if John Stones was out and Diaz was in? Was he going to be better individual performance?
Well, yeah.
Because let me just get into this conversation with you. If John Stones... Did John Stones play well for you, Nobbins?
No. He gave away the ball a lot, and he played Garnacho on the side.
Remove John Stones, put Diaz. That's an individual, that's a position-to-position change, right? Diaz has had bad games this season, so he could have had the same game, the same bad game, the same performance as John Stones. That's my opinion. Nathan Ake has been good every time he played. He made some mistakes, but people want to play him over a lot of other defenders. That's my point. And Kyle Walker provides speeds at the back. The reason why I think Pep Guardiola got it wrong, and I said it before after the game, is that, again, the instructions again. When Gvardiol over the past games, when he got isolated with other opposition's defenders, he used to dribble, cross, create something. But you were too negative in this game. The majority of the play, Bernardo Silva got isolated with Dalot too many times and didn't try to take him. If this was Bukayo Saka on the side and got isolated with any defender in the league and didn't try to dribble or take him on the line, he would be criticized big time. But Bernardo Silva didn't. I saw the ball with Bernardo Silva isolated with Dalot, and instead of trying to create something, the ball would go all the way back to Ortega to go to the other side to Gvardiol. This is when Pep Guardiola got it wrong. I saw Kevin De Bruyne with chances to shoot and not shooting. I saw Foden with chances to shoot like he did against West Ham and against Man United, and it's choosing to pass the ball again, keep the ball again. It's when Pep Guardiola obsession with control again in this game. It isn't about the lineup. It's about the choice.
I think it's about both.
Okay. You can tell me that he chose the wrong personnel because they made individual mistakes. But I think Diaz makes individual mistakes. The only one that doesn't make individual mistakes is sometimes is Akanji, who has been good this season. And he didn't choose him because he wanted John Stones in the lineup. I don't think we're dwelling too much. Nobody is people talking. This is what I say, scapegoating and giving him excuses. People give Guardiola excuses because nobody's speaking about the actual instruction that I saw on the pitch that were wrong. That in the other games, he gave players freedom. We talk about the lineup as if he changed the lineup, Gvardiol would have crossed the ball from the left, or Bernardo Silva would have tried to take on Dalot, or Foden would have taken a shot. Why did you have zero shots on target?
There was less defensive structure because you had too many defenders who wanted to attack. Ake is a left back in this City team. Ake is the defensive left back to provide stability. Having no Akanji and no Diaz there meant that there was no actual centre back who wanted to be a centre back. Ake wants to go out to the left. Ake wants to go out to the left because he's better on the left. Gvardiol wants to get forward. John Stones wants to do whatever John Stones does, and Kyle Walker is Kyle Walker. There was a lack of a leader at the back, and yes, I know that ability-wise, Ake is better and Stones is better based on the last couple of seasons, but it doesn't matter their ability when they are not fit. They are not 100% sharp. There is a difference. You can pass a fitness test for a game and not be 100% fit. I don't think Ake, and I don't think Ake was 100% fit for that game. I don't think Stones has been 100% fit all season. I don't think Stones has been right all season. So him throwing them to the wolves effectively in the first in that final ahead of a Diaz, who I think in recent weeks has started to find his feet again after a shaky start to the season and has been looking back to his best. And Akanji, who's been across the entire season one of City's better central defenders, arguably their best in terms of consistency, they miss out. That is on Pep. And that it doesn't matter what individual mistakes they made. Pep is liable for that because he played the players that weren't best for the job. I'm sure City fans at the time when they saw that lineup come out and saw no Diaz or Akanji. I'm not saying start both of them. I'm not saying start both of them. I'm not saying go Diaz and Akanji. I'm saying just one of them instead of Ake. One of them instead of Ake, or one of them ideally instead of John Stones. And all of a sudden you're golden because you've got more defensive structure. Every single time United were counter-attacking, they were going in behind Josko Gvardiol because Ake didn't enjoy the position and he wasn't fit. And there was so much space on that side. And then John Stones was left isolated in the middle when he was back. And because Kyle Walker was Kyle Walker, wasn't tracking runs, wasn't back in position, and was just an overall pain in the arse for City. He was a net negative for Man City.
How is that
Kyle
Pep
Walker.
Guardiola's fault? I don't get it, to be honest.
Because he picked the players.
Like,
he knows their skill set.
I'll just respond very short before Rory or Dan come in. Nathan Ake, left-footed centre back to cover Gvardiol. John Stones in the back. Okay, he leaves Diaz isolated. He leaves John Stones isolated. Kyle Walker, it's a choice that he didn't track Kobe Mainoo back, right? Even though, by the way, nobody wants to talk about Kobe Mainoo. He has to be tracked by someone from Rodri or Kovacic, but nobody's talking about that, right? You want to talk about Kyle Walker, who is the speedy guy who covers and does everything. But anyway, this is one of nobody. I haven't seen you talk about the offense yet, Tom. You started by the defense. What I think actually,
I made a point.
If Ortega doesn't make the mistake, the first half might not have ended this way. Again, Pep Guardiola, the machine that goes forward. Well, yeah, nobody wants to talk about that.
I'm sorry, I just don't really understand.
Pep Guardiola, are you saying Pep Guardiola?
And nobody wants to talk about Kevin De Bruyne's 20 passes in 57 minutes.
I quite literally did. I quite literally made a point of saying that Kevin De Bruyne had a typical final Kevin De Bruyne performance, which is anonymous.
Now we're talking. I mentioned that,
but that is not on Pep because he didn't do anything stupid with Kevin De Bruyne. He put Kevin De Bruyne in the position he's playing. Pep did the stupid thing in the defense.
I mean, one thing I would say is that this was another game. City had a bad record this season against the Big Six, and this was another game against the Big Six team that shut up shop, shut them down, and won by counter-attack. And I do think that's something that City are going to have to address. And Pep Guardiola is going to have to address it, because currently the format of basically getting the ball to De Bruyne or someone else and crossing the ball in for Haaland, like, it's just become a really, really easy pattern of play to defend. The amount of times yesterday I was looking at De Bruyne. Oh, De Bruyne's got it on the corner of the box. He's going to try and cross it in to find Haaland. And even if you've got a centre-back pairing that involves a 5'4" Lisandro Martinez, they're still dealing with it. So I do think that's a longer-term issue rather than just yesterday. And then if you don't have those moments of magic yesterday from a Foden or a De Bruyne or someone else, then you're in trouble.
I think to be fair, you're right, Rory. I think we did see it in the second half. To be fair, like Doku came on, and I think it's obvious that he is the solution to these low blocks. That is his game. I expect that we'll address that in the summer transfer window. So yeah, but I got a bit confused because we're all criticizing Pep, and then Mo said stop making excuses for Pep, and that's what threw me a bit, because we're all saying it's Pep's fault. I just got a bit confused there.
The problem is for me, Pep didn't get it wrong in defense. I thought Pep got the instructions wrong in the offense, and he played the same people that got him over the line. Like Gvardiol was high on the pitch, where we praised him. Bernardo Silva on the right, Foden and Kevin De Bruyne behind Haaland.
Well, regardless, we all think he got whatever we think the reason is for him getting it wrong. We all agree he got it wrong. That's not making an excuse.
But the difference is instructions, to be honest, because I actually think, Nobbins, not a lot of people talk about the way Pep plays and the way sometimes he's obsessed with keep ball. And this is why Jack Grealish was. And then when he was 2-0 behind, who does he look to the bench to get on? He looks at the guy that is so random and chaotic, Jeremy Doku.
Yeah, who at the end, that's what you need against these sides who just defend.
But most of the sides play like this.
I would say that, like, yesterday, was it yesterday? The day before yesterday, wasn't it? United were clinical, which realistically, right, if Heung-min Son scores a chance that he scores 90% of the time, or Chris Wood scores one of multiple chances for Forest, like, City have had that vulnerability in other games. I know they put on that ridiculous run and they won the Premier League, and so it kind of gets put to the side. The reality is one of those chances goes in. Maybe they don't end up winning the Premier League or the FA Cup, and they win nothing this season. And you look at that defensive vulnerability as something that has to be addressed in the summer. Same way they went out of the Champions League to Madrid as well.
And that's because we don't have Gundogan, so we don't have that midfield security. But yeah, we know this. And again, we've said it's Pep's fault. Pep said it's his fault. I don't think anyone here is making excuses for him. It's his fault.
I think we'll hit the nail on the head there. I think that's why City are going to go for like a Bruno G in the summer, because I do feel that Kovacic is Kovacic, but I don't think he's great defensively. I think City need to get
we can go to
someone alongside Rodri at least who can hold his own defensively. And because Rodri, to me, this season has been doing the job of a 6 and an 8, and then when they're chasing games, a 10, all on his own. And that's what it oftentimes leaves City so exposed on the counter-attack, which I've never seen before until this season. They need to add, what Gundogan, a criminally underrated part of Gundogan's game, everyone looked at him for the goals he scored in the attacking side of his game. That man was so smart, and that man knew where to be defensively. He maybe didn't make 7 tackles and 10 interceptions, but he read the game really well and snuffed out a lot of ground as well before they got anywhere dangerous. And Kovacic doesn't do that, and Nunes doesn't do that. So they need someone to go alongside Rodri again. So not only ease the burden on Rodri, even though I think he's had a very good year, you do run the risk of a burnout, but also to give him more cover on that side, which would in turn make that defensive structure, which Pep Guardiola wants to build, with the one going high and the one inverting, stronger, because you've got a solid midfield block in front of it that can stop most attacks. Right now, all you need to do to bypass City's attack is run down the wings, hit a long ball into the space that's left behind.
Yeah.
That's what makes City so hard to beat this gun.
I think Rory's about to say, go on, Rory.
Yeah, Bruno G ran more than any other Premier League player last season. I think
exactly. Yes,
he's good enough on the ball for City, and he does an unbelievable amount of running. So I want Arsenal to sign Bruno G more so that he doesn't go to City, rather than the desperate need for him in our squad, to be honest.
Yeah, but Rory's absolutely right. That would be perfect. He's like won more duels than like the majority of like players this season in the Premier League, covering more distance than anyone else. That's literally Rodgers' biggest weakness, not being able to cover space. That's why we wanted Rice. That's why we wanted Bellingham to do that. So if we can bring him in, I think that solves most of the midfield issues, which they're in
It's
turn
also
solves
why
the
I never
defensive
saw
issues.
the appeal. I'm not saying you did, Nobbins, but I saw a lot of City fans trying to push this Paqueta. I'd take Paqueta over Bruno G. I don't think Paqueta fixes the problems that you've got. I think Paqueta strengthens areas which are already pretty strong, whereas Bruno G plugs the hole that is needed.
Yeah, totally different player. I wanted both. We're not going to get Paquetá now, but yeah, Paquetá will be more advanced for sure. But yeah, there you go. Congrats United. They deserve to win, as I say.
I actually think the problem happens because he stopped playing the same formation he played last season. In the last 20 games of the season, 24 games.
You
I
can't without John Stones.
Yeah, I actually think he needs to find someone to actually invert and stop pushing both fullbacks high. I actually think he should go back to that same way of playing, which is the box midfield with one of them defender. I'm gonna tell you the difference based on the formation, by the way, and based on positional. Man City last season used to defend with 3, right, on the counter attack, because you invert one, which was John Stones, and then you have Rodri, 2 attackers, and John Stones invert, and John Stones pushes high. This season, he defend with 2 and 1 because both fullbacks push high. He relies so much on Kyle Walker recovery pace to create that extra one. And if Kyle Walker doesn't run back, you're done. You're 2-on-2 or 1-on-1 at the back.
Pushing the only way that works.
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, I was just saying the only way that works is if we coach Guardiola to do that, because at the moment,
Akanji did it to a good extent, not exact to a good extent that he can be coached to do it.
He can do it to an adequate standard, but not to a standard which is good enough. So I think Guardiola's got the skill set to do that. I'm sure that's something we'll be working on in the summer. But I also think that we'll be signing an offensive right back / someone who can play at centre back, because we can't rely on someone like Stones. This season's demonstrated that we've had to find alternatives.
Also, if you want to run that system that City ran, they need a new right winger, because I think Bernardo's going this summer finally.
Yes,
and I don't think they have anyone. I don't think they have anyone on that right who can do what the right winger needs to do.
I wanted to ask Nobbins a couple of questions. I wanted to ask everyone. Dan, I want to ask a couple of questions. You're not involved yet. Before we move on to Manchester United and Chelsea and all this stuff. No agendas. I wanted to ask a question. Kevin De Bruyne getting subbed off at 56 minutes. There are 2 possibilities here. He's either one of the guys, like just one of the guys, right? Or he's the best player. Why did Pep sub him out?
I think it was a mistake. To be honest, I don't care. I personally am of the view that, because I remember it was half time against Spurs, and in my watch along, the whole chat was like, get De Bruyne off, get De Bruyne off, get De Bruyne off. And I was like, it's easier said than done, because De Bruyne's the sort of player who can, with one moment of quality, can out of nowhere save you. Like Foden at the Bernabeu. I don't think he played particularly well. It was quite poor, to be honest. But he, out of nowhere, a moment of quality and got City back into the game. So for me, I appreciate that De Bruyne was bad. I don't think it was subpar. I think it was bad. But I still think that he only needs a moment. And I think that if you've got a good alternative, then it's fine. But the alternative was Julian Alvarez, and I've had my say on him this season. So and he obviously missed that, what was for a striker, a bit of a sitter, to be honest. So I personally don't think it was the correct call. I think that Rory touched on it in terms of like how it's too easy to like almost like snuff out De Bruyne this season, which I agree with. I think that we'll see him played a bit deeper next season when we have the ball. I expect him to evolve with his age, as we saw Gerrard do at Liverpool, as we saw Scholes do with United, as we saw Pirlo do with Juve in the Italian national side. That's what I think will be the future for Kevin. Play a bit deeper, have the play in front of him, almost like a Trent situation. That's what I think we'll see.
Second question: why didn't Jack Grealish get a minute? Is he injured?
There's no point to bring him on against a low block when you're 2-0 down. Doku's right there. Okay. Different players, different.
But that's the last season you played against low block all season.
But we had different like avenues of attack, i.e., like Gundogan to like crash the box and that sort of thing.
Oh, okay.
We need. That was not that was never going to be the game for. It was certainly never going to be the game for Grealish to come on and make an impact. And to be fair, he's not that sort of player. This was always going to be the game for Doku, and that's why Tom's right. I think we will probably sign another wide player next season who can do a similar thing to Doku. I think that's maybe Pep's evolution. Maybe he's going back to.
I think it's going to that attack at least anyway is going to revert back to one from like 17, 18.
Yeah, with like Sterling and Sane. I agree.
You've already got Savia, haven't you? Wasn't that
we do, but he's a baby, and has only played like one season with like Girona. We're probably going to lose Bernardo. So I think just based on a pure numbers standpoint, we need another body in there. I expect Bob
logically Nobbins, but then you've not factored in the fact that Pep Guardiola will just play Phil Foden out on the right again.
No, it won't. That's not going to happen.
He'll fish you out to nowhere when he plays Phil Foden on the right again.
We're going to sign another winger, and that will solidify him as a more minutes in the midfield. That's what's going to happen. Never suggest that to my face ever again.
Okay, guys, we are 600 people here, and we aren't even on 200 likes. Again, stop what you're doing and hit the like button underneath your live chat. The only way we can increase the number of viewers, we can get more subscribers, is the thumbs up underneath your live chat. And also, I am 100% sure there is 100 of you that haven't subscribed to the channel. You can literally live now, and I'm sure, get me to 21,100. I am sure there is 100 of you that haven't subscribed. Hit that like button. Fuad Kadani is Army saying, if I'm City, buy Archie Gray and send Phillips back.
Archie Gray is very good, but he's not a City player.
No. I don't know where Phillips is going to go, to be honest. Not at City, that's all I know. Dan, do you want
right back from leagues? He's all right. Archie Gray, is that?
I think he's a better midfielder. I think because he is a midfielder who's played at right back this year. I love him at Liverpool. I think Liverpool is selfishly the kind of club that he should go to and not a City where he's got so much competition in front of him. With us, there's going to be avenues in there because I don't think our midfield is as strong as it's made out to be.
Yeah. Liverpool season is saying it's a cup final. Anything can happen. Pep will punish Man United next season because he is a perfectionist and he doesn't like to be humble. Move on.
We'll now play them in the Shield, won't we, to be fair?
Mm-hmm. So they'll just do it on the counter again and then Pep
hold that trophy. It was so shameless from Rory. Rory's Twitter is different than Rory's National League.
What did I do?
You put that you won a trophy this season.
That was
bad. To be fair.
I mean, we did, but that was I didn't tweet that.
It's not you.
I don't think
I quoted you on Babs, so that was Babs' tweet.
I think it was Babs. I mean, Babs is more shameless than me.
Was Babs the one who tried to rename the Community Shield to the English Super Cup?
Yes.
I have also
because I quoted Rory. I
would like to rename it that as well. To be
why
fair.
Is Arsenal trending? Okay, so I quoted you with Arsenal trending, and I quoted Babs for the.
Yeah. It should be called the English. Every other league calls it the.
I agree.
The Super Cup. It's only because we call it the Community Shield that it has a bad reputation.
Do you know why? Right.
Because it used to be called the Charity Shield, and then the FA were naughty.
In the Italian Super Cup and in the Spanish Super Cup, the laws of the game are the same as the laws of the regular games. Until 3 years ago, the Charity Shield allowed, like an international friendly, more subs than the. So at that time, you cannot consider it a trophy if you change the laws of the game. You guys get that? Like that's why international friendlies, when they change it to the whatever it's called, the national, what is it called? The league? What is it?
Nations League.
The Nations League. They had to abide by the FIFA rules to be able to consider them official games.
But now it is done like that. So
they need to change it. Though.
I mean, it should be I don't hold it in that higher standard, even if my team wins it, because
it's like lower than the League Cup, obviously. Yeah,
I think it's higher
friendly, guys. You know,
it's not. It's not higher than the League Cup.
I think it's higher than the Carabao Cup.
You can win the Community Shield. You can win the Community Shield without winning anything.
We're meant to be rational.
That's because Arsenal have about 58 Community Shields, so Rory wants to big it up. That's why.
We have a Super Cup that you don't need to win anything to get into. That's the part which loses me. It's not like the best of in this. It's if
you have to
finish, you get second.
Yeah, but you have to have finished top 2 in the Premier League minimum, and then you have to beat. And then if you did finish second, you've then got to beat the team.
That's not the point, Rory. You know,
I would much rather have.
Rory,
It should go through. It should go through a list. So ideal world, it's Premier League winner versus FA Cup winner. Both teams have won that. It should go Premier League winner to Carabao Cup winner. If both teams win that, then it's Premier League to second. That's how it should go. You should have to at least win something.
Do you know why it doesn't? Do you know why it doesn't? Because everyone knows that finishing second in the Premier League is better than winning the Carabao Cup. So it's weighted at a higher value.
It's not better than a trophy. Oh my God. We're not doing
what's
this.
this descended into?
Let's
move on because this is going to get crazy.
Why is going to get crazy? Can I actually?
It already has. It already has. We've already got Rory saying that it's better than the League Cup. Like, this is mental.
Dan, you're right, bro.
Nah, that's crazy. Like, I just don't understand that. There's no benefit to finishing second in the Premier League if you're not winning trophies elsewhere. Like, the trophies mean way more.
Them's the rules. Don't ask me. It's not my decision. But clearly, the FA believes that finishing second is worth more. So take it up with them. Take it up with them. And when you do that, ask them why it's not called the English Super Cup, because it should be.
Because it used to be a nice competition which both teams could win. If you want to know why the Community Shield doesn't carry much weight in history, it's because there was a number of years where two teams fucking won it. Because if you drew the game, both teams won it.
That was crazy.
Thank you, Tevin, for being a member for 2 months. Appreciate you so much.
There was a moment in, I think it was 1971 or something. And Rory, when did Arsenal win the double in the 70s? If you know, it was that year. And Arsenal didn't want to go. So, because they already like a preseason tour. So they invited, I think it was Derby, who were like the championship winners, and Man City, who finished like 6th. And for some reason, we took part in the Community Shield final that year. I have no idea why, but yeah, just an interesting tidbit.
You've got, so with City, you've got City West Brom in 68, which ended 6-1. That might be a, or if it was in the 70s.
It was 71, people are saying. I'm sure it was 71.
Yes.
I'm sure.
It was 72 or 73, because 71 was Leicester Liverpool.
Oh, okay.
72 was 1-0 versus Villa. 73 was Burnley.
Was it against Villa? Maybe it was against Villa. I don't know. I'm sure that was a thing. But yeah, it was just funny.
Up until 1991, you could share the cup. In 1991, Arsenal and Tottenham shared the cup. They both won the cup.
North
in
London,
86, Liverpool.
forever.
Rory's like, I wasn't born. It doesn't count.
Yeah, we're talking about now. We're talking about since the rules changed in the last 3 years. That's when it started counting as the English Super Cup.
Yeah.
Rebrand. We need a big rebrand.
It's just like the Premier League in '93.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we changed it.
Okay, since we're talking about Arsenal, does anybody here think Man United had a better season than Arsenal at all?
No.
Okay. Can I ask the question in a different way? Can I ask the question? Rational. This is the Rational League. This is the Rational League. Can I ask a question? If Arsenal don't win trophies next season, right, and Man United keep Erik ten Hag next season, would he and get sacked? And both Arteta leaves, and would Erik ten Hag had a better tenure than?
I knew you were going to say that.
Than Mikel Arteta. I'm being genuinely serious. By the way, I really want to know the answer.
Rory,
let's say
take it away, mate.
Arteta next season doesn't win trophies. Because if I ask, okay, let me run the question again. No, forget sacked. Okay. Let me run the question again. Okay. Anybody here think Arsenal are favorites to win the Champions League next season? If you are, raise your hand. No one. Anybody here think Arsenal are favorites to win the league next season? If they are, raise your hand. Tom, get out of here, bro.
Crazy.
Oh, I don't know if that's that outrageous, though. I don't think that's...
It's not outrageous.
We're not major underdogs, but you still have to have City as favourites.
Okay, my point about it, it's a very
Ask me after deadline day.
Very plausible situation that Arsenal don't win the league with the Champions League next season, right? It's not crazy for me to say that. If that happens, and Man United keep Ten Hag, for example, right, and they win the Europa League, or they don't win the Europa League, they go to the final, did that mean Ten Hag's tenure is better than Arteta's tenure? But I'm gonna move on from this to Chelsea right away.
More successful, but not better, is what I'd say. Like the definition of success, winning trophies, yes. But if you asked Arsenal fans if they were happy with Arteta's tenure, they'd probably say yes. Generally,
fair enough.
That's just club standards, though, isn't it? I think as well.
And I think it also kind of depends on the situation that the managers took over in. And Arteta has won a cup, to be fair.
That's
Yeah, I
fair,
mean, they
fair
both won
enough.
one
I
FA
just wanted
Cup.
to know because I am absolutely. I think Arsenal have had a better. I would rather choose Arsenal season this season than actually Man United this season. That's just me. Right? The moments, the winnings, winning against City, quarterfinal of the Champions League, you know what I mean? But I'm not someone for the cups. Like I don't care about the cups. Like even in Italy, like nobody in Spain, nobody counts the cup. You know what I mean? In Italy, nobody comes and brags about the cup unless you aren't a big team. That's it. So Man United winning the FA Cup doesn't prove anything. They played Coventry, Nottingham Forest, and Newport. Then they played Liverpool and City. Then they played Liverpool and City. That's fine. But
you can
anyway,
only beat who's in front of you, though, can't you? I can't like knock
but that's a
them for how
lot.
they
Beating
draw
Liverpool
went.
and City is a lot.
Yeah, but it was when you mentioned like Coventry and Newport and like they can only beat who's in front of them. Same in the Champions League.
Yeah.
If someone won the Champions League, so let's say in 03-04, so an argument's sake, Real Madrid won the Champions League and they had Monaco's run, or they were playing like Monaco, then Porto, then this, that, and the other, and it was a relatively weak one. You wouldn't just go, oh well, it means less. It's still a Champions League when you can only play in front of who you get drawn with. At the end of the day, United and Arsenal, Ten Hag would have more trophies, but would he leave the club in a much better state than when he found it?
Yes,
Probably
100%. Okay, I want to go on to Chelsea though. But first, thank you, Mookie, for supporting the channel and sending a super chat. And we're almost 700 people here. That's what happens when you guys hit that like. Thank you so much for everybody that hit the like, even though we aren't even on 200 likes. But thank you guys. Chelsea, then Mareska. Did you take if you hire Mareska, is that a step backwards from Pochettino?
On paper, I think it is.
Okay.
It's tough to say. I just don't know in terms of him tactically. I've literally seen one game of his. I've barely watched Leicester. I can barely comment, but obviously Leicester played Chelsea in the FA Cup. His Leicester side at moments were playing Pochettino's team off the field. So it's hard to say whether or not it's a step backwards until I actually see what's going on next season. But name-wise and on paper, it's definitely a step backwards. I think there aren't going to be many Chelsea fans that are happy with the appointment. Even the ones that wanted Poch out, I think they would have happily sort of bided their time with Pochettino, knowing that a bigger, better name with more experience and probably more trophies was coming in. They probably could have put up with Poch. I think I would have put myself in that boat. I'm not sure. Look, it's a weird move. The board are really putting some pressure on themselves if this doesn't work out, like absolutely massively. And Chelsea just feels weird to me at the moment. I don't really know what to say. I think it suggests to me that they didn't learn any lessons from Potter or the interim appointment of Frank Lampard.
There just can't have been a plan. I think that's the worst thing, is that they sacked Pochettino. Clearly, Mareska was not the number one plan. Otherwise, if it was, if in their heads they were, right, we really want Mareska. He's really impressed us. This is the route we want to go down. So we're going to sack Pochettino. Mareska would already have been lined up. We wouldn't have been hearing Zerbi, McKenna, Thomas Frank, all the rest of it.
A bit like Slot at Liverpool. It was just like that, pretty much, wasn't it? Like,
yeah,
really.
Yeah, and I don't even think Slot was their first choice necessarily.
Oh no, Alonso was the first choice.
Yeah, but there was still more of a plan in place.
Third.
He was second.
Well, you saying Amorim in front?
Third.
Maybe Amorim.
There's no way Amorim wasn't in front.
He was in front of Slot, but they disagreed with him.
No,
and
Dan,
it's well documented that Amorim wasn't.
Whatever makes you sleep at night, Tom. It's fine. Whatever.
I wanted Amorim. I wish Amorim was ahead of him. Well, you know, with the guy who loved Amorim.
Whatever makes you sleep all at night.
Dan, have Chelsea gone? Have they? Do we think gone for Mareska purely because of his affiliation with Guardiola? Because if you have a look at his CV, he's managed Parma, who are in the second tier of Italy, and he's obviously managed cities under whatever's and assistants, and has been in the Championship. So he doesn't, as far as I'm aware, he doesn't have any top flight experience. So, which seems like a mental decision to make to sack Poch, who's got obviously big experience, Champions League final. Do we think that they've literally just done it because they've looked at City and gone, oh, that's what we should be trying to be? He's got an affiliation with Pep. Is that what's going on here?
I definitely think there's a potentially there's a part of that that's going to be the case, because I think if you look at so many clubs now, everyone is sort of in the shadow of Pep Guardiola. You look at Arsenal, they've kind of done the same. If you look at Burnley, even Manchester United, now Chelsea potentially, everyone sort of wants a piece of the pie from that sort of Pep Guardiola system. I think the difference here with Mareska is actually, if you look at Arsenal, Arteta was obviously number 2 to Guardiola, and obviously a legend of Arsenal, or a very well-regarded player at the club. He hadn't actually gone out and managed and done like that until he went to Arsenal. I think the difference with Mareska is he has gone and put himself out there as a manager and tried to develop himself. And arguably at Parma, I don't know too much about how his team was playing, but the win percentage isn't exactly great. It's around 28 to 30%, I think, something like that. So it doesn't look that good. At Leicester, obviously, he's gone and won the league. And obviously, when they were falling off a bit, there were question marks around him, but he managed to recover it and push them on to go and win that. Look, he's coming as a winner. He's coming with the league he's in. He can only do the best he can, which is to win that. And ultimately, he's done it. But my concern is how many managers could have probably done the same with that Leicester squad. I think it's more the style of football. And like you said, it's probably that sort of familiarity to a Pep Guardiola team that might come with an appointment that's worked under him. I'm absolutely not sold on the appointment whatsoever, though. I just think it doesn't feel like the right type of move for Chelsea to be making after the season and the last few weeks that Pochettino had. It doesn't feel like it's one that's going to really elevate the club itself, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like a move up necessarily. It feels like maybe a move sideways potentially.
I think to
From
say sideways on Pochettino,
Or down.
sideways.
No, sideways or down, or down.
I'll be completely honest. I actually think it's a step down compared to the Graham Potter appointment. I'd say it's comparable to Frank Lampard, to be completely honest with you.
Probably.
Frank Lampard obviously got the job because of who he was, but I feel like this is a step down on the Graham Potter appointment, because albeit he's won something, that I'm not sure if Potter won anything in the league that he was in Sweden, but the issue I have is that this just feels like no one's learned any lessons. And
the biggest concern, I read something like today. Apparently, when Mareska got sacked from Parma, he said the reason was he had a young squad that didn't really gel together and didn't know the league, and there was a lack of experience and stuff. And he's going to Chelsea, whose entire model is buying these young players that don't have experience with the league or the culture and everything. So why would the same problems not occur in a tougher league? I just feel like there's such a narrow-minded view set and a sort of fairy tale view set at the top at Chelsea that it's never going to end well. I mean, they rang Kieran McKenna to tell him he didn't get the job. In the nice possible way, Kieran McKenna's done really well for Ipswich. Ipswich and Chelsea should not be in the same conversation. But if that's the level you're shopping at, what does that say? Like, having a good game against Chelsea in the FA Cup shouldn't warrant the job. I mean, who's the Leeds man? Daniel Farke had a good game against Chelsea in the FA Cup.
Look. That's just my opinion. Like how I could base any opinion.
That will have had some waste.
Doing that. You reckon?
100%. That will have had some waste. These are romanticists who don't understand the sport.
Didn't they try to sign Lavia like immediately after he joined Southampton? Something mental.
He signed for Southampton. He had a really good game against Chelsea on August 29th. So Chelsea just put in a 50 million quid bid the next day. They don't know how the sport works, and they are affecting one of the most successful clubs of recent years in England with it. They are dragging them down. They took over a side that was a year removed from being champions of Europe. And 2 years into their tenure, they're playing in the UCL, but the Conference League, not the Champions League.
And a blueprint to 20 years of success as well, that they've completely ripped up and sacked everyone all the way down to the catering staff in the club.
It doesn't make sense. They don't make sense. I don't know why they have not decided or realised that, you know what, the best interest of the football club is to get a team of footballing people to run the football club.
Because, okay, so there's a couple of reasons as to why I can only think that's the case. I agree with you. I'm sat here absolutely baffled as to how they can keep running the football club like this.
Sorry, Dan. Mash, Chelsea have not been good in regards to player recruitment. They have been wildly volatile with it. For every Palmer, for every Caicedo, there's a stinker like a Disasi, like a Mudryk. It has not been good. It has been banking on player potential, and they are going against the one grain that is needed with player potential by constantly sacking managers and changing styles and changing who's teaching these players. So these players who have all this top potential is never going to hit their potential because they are wasting it under 4 different managers playing 4 different ways. That's not how it works. Sorry, Dan.
Go on. I kind of agree. The only thing I might disagree there is I definitely see what you're saying. I think that might be a little bit harsh on Disasi, but I kind of hear what you're saying. I don't know if Disasi was ever recruited to play the amount of games that he ended up playing this season. He was just the only one that could stay fit. I'm sure they didn't sign Disasi. Actually, do you know what? I say I'm sure. I actually don't know what the plan is or was, and I'm just sure actually Lawrence Stewart probably had a Monaco link that he felt like he could just follow up and sign Disasi, 𝙁𝙨 and get that sort of over the line. Rory, you're going to say something?
Oh no, I was just going to say, I mean, Matt has followed that up by putting Enzo in the group of good signings, which I just think is absolutely mental. If you look, I think the signings that you could say Chelsea have got good value for were Palmer, Gusto, and probably Jackson. They've signed what? How many players have they actually signed now? 25, 30 players? And there are 3 that I think have overperformed on the value that was paid for them. So there's that. But I think if you kind
maybe
of zoom
Petrovic,
out now,
I'm not sure.
Petrovic wasn't expensive. But if you zoom out now, I think the big issue, the big concern, if I was a Chelsea fan, was you've got a board that don't know the sport, don't know the league, and haven't proven that they can adapt to it. You've got a manager that doesn't know the league, hasn't managed at this level, hasn't proven anything, and you've got a squad who were just about beginning to understand the league, haven't really won anything, haven't got the experience. Like there's no one there really at this point. Even having Thiago Silva leave the club, I think is a big blow. There's very little anywhere in the club, from management to players to the board, that understands how and has experience winning and improving in the Premier League, and that I think is quite worrying.
I'm gonna, guys. By the way, just breaking news just now. Di Marzio actually just tweeted that Chelsea are set to sign Enzo Maresca in a long-term project. It was, I don't think now it's between Zerbi and Maresca. I think it's just Maresca is just.
Apparently, it's a 2-year deal with a 1-year extension.
That's long term for Chelsea these days. To be fair,
yeah,
that is a long term.
I actually think, for anybody that says just second poach was the right decision, I literally said that, and I thought we spoke about this here. We said it all depends on who Chelsea sign, right? Like if Chelsea go and get an Hansi Flick, or you get an Amorim even, or you get someone or a Zerbi, I might say, okay, but you really risked removing all the body of work that Pochettino did at the end of the season, all these players that got developed, to sign Enzo Maresca, who coached in the championship. And this is I think you're again. They strike again, the 𝙁𝙁𝙗s and these guys. And in my opinion now, how can Chelsea attract the Ulises and the Osimhens? How can these guys go? Like, why would they go to Chelsea
the point,
now?
Mo,
It's another risk.
Even the players, like they're gonna be here during the summer, and they're gonna be thinking to themselves, like, do I even want to go back to Chelsea? Do I want to turn up to training when everything was starting to go well under Poch? I'm now questioning the club that employ me again. Like, if you were in a job and it was that volatile where you were working at a company, you wouldn't want to. You'd think, is this the right place for me? Like, is this really the place that's going to be best for me to develop my career when they're hiring managers like that? Not what I'll tell you right now. If Mareska was the manager of Chelsea, or someone said, see this guy at Parma, probably when half these players were, maybe he wasn't Parma, I'm not sure where he was, might have been unemployed by that point. This is going to be your manager in 3 years' time at Chelsea, and you're going to just finish 6th, and you would have sacked Pochettino. None of them would have signed. Not one player would have signed, no matter how much money they're getting paid, whatever, because they would have gone, hang on, what direction is that club heading in? And that's the issue, is that, like a few of you have said, there's absolutely no plan. The 2 people that they've got in terms of Stewart and 𝙤𝙤𝙗 don't want to be questioned by someone that has more footballing knowledge than them, because I think then they feel like they're being completely and utterly like undermined. It is a mess, and I feel like Mareska is enough for some players to walk or to speak and ask their agents to negotiate a deal away from the club. this summer, because imagine you were going back from even a Pochettino to a Mareska. I feel like that's such a step down.
Poch was like really liked, weren't he? A lot of the players
Exactly,
like
that's the
Pochettino.
thing. There's even people outside of the team, but in the circle of Chelsea, your John Terry, your Ashley Cole, Hazard, Fabregas, they're all saying the same thing. Like, they're absolutely shocked. They didn't see it coming. They're sorry for Pochettino because they could obviously see they're professionals. They know how this works. They know it's a tough job that Poch had. And ultimately, it was kind of moving its way back around to moving in a better direction. There's not one. You know what? I reckon you could ask every single Chelsea fan, and 90% of them who get the club would rather have John Terry or Fabregas take over the job than a Mareska.
Yeah, but
I'll
this
tell you
can be
that
Arteta.
right now.
Does anybody here think this can be Arteta?
Yeah, but I just feel like that.
They sacked the known manager in Pochettino.
Hold on.
Hired the Mareska.
No, because they had
Who
their
was
Arteta with
Arteta.
Potter. They had their own Arteta with Potter, and then they
had their
jumped the
Arteta with Lampard. I'd say actually they're probably ahead of the curve with Lampard.
And then they threw him away to get a new manager in. The reason Arteta worked at Arsenal was because the Arsenal board were willing to give that man time, a lot of time that I think Rory can back up here. A lot of clubs wouldn't have given Arteta as much time as he needed to get it right at Arsenal. Do you think Pep Got, 𝙅𝙊𝙄𝙉, do you think what's his name, fucking Paul Winstanley, do you think all these directors who are now on their fifth Chelsea manager in 3 years are now going to give someone minimum 3 years, even if they're finishing 10th, 7th?
The thing is,
sorry, Rory, I don't know how, before you go on, I don't know how Chelsea board's justification to sack Poch is that he failed in the objectives, which is top 4 on a trophy, and they think hiring
Have they
Mareska
stated that though, Mo? Has that been
I thought
stated?
it was because he wanted too much say in transfers, wasn't that?
I don't think Pochettino's been sacked on a results basis, and I think that's the only thing I'd say is what Tom is suggesting is the patience thing. Yeah, there's no doubt about it that this board have shown absolutely no patience before Pochettino, but there were 3 or 4 times during the season when Pochettino could have gone, definitely could have been sacked if they weren't patient. I think they actually decided that Pochettino was the right fit. I think the ultimate issue here is that someone's not given Poch the memo that he had absolutely no control over his playing staff, and he's ultimately gone in asking for control, and they've gone no, and because you've asked that, you're not fit to be part of this Chelsea project. You need to leave before we sack you. That's as simple as that. So I don't think that Chelsea were impatient with Pochettino. I think what they might hopefully learn is that actually, if they'd have given Pochettino, say, 1, 2, 3 players that he might have wanted, and they'd fitted into the system, they might have actually seen that potentially him being included on recruitment would have been okay. The issue is, though, Pochettino took such a long time to rectify a lot of his mistakes this season and ultimately misprofiled a lot of players as well into his system, that why there wasn't probably enough evidence to suggest that he deserved that trust in terms of recruitment as well, I think.
I think the Arteta thing, I think, just gets thrown around way too much. It's like every new manager, especially if they're young, it's like, oh, is this their Arteta? Which, first of all, considering how everyone talks about how Arteta hasn't won anything and hasn't been successful, who wants their next Arteta? You'd want someone that wins stuff. But the major thing that is a completely different to Chelsea is Arteta was obviously former club captain, which gives him extra time, gets, fans are on side immediately. B, he won something within the first 6 months. And C, it's completely different to Chelsea because Arteta was given the keys to the club in terms of from top to bottom. Arteta was given authority on absolutely everything. You want to get rid of these players? Get rid of them. You want to bring in these players for quite a lot of money that could be gambles, Ben Whites? You go and do it. Everything throughout the club is and was dictated by Arteta. He even got rid of Steve Round at the start of the year because Steve Round didn't think bringing in David Raya was a good idea. Like, he's almost a dictator at the club. And that's the polar opposite of what Chelsea want with their manager, where they want someone to come in who's going to say, yes, sir, no, sir, I'll deal with what you give me, sir. And so I don't think the comparison's accurate at all.
I think that there's also a D to add there, Rory, by the way, is the fact that the career that Arteta based his coaching development off of is way stronger than what Mareska has to stand on as well. If you're looking at that background as well.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I'm not even saying that you want your next Arteta, but I definitely don't think that this is comparable.
I think the other thing is that I remember when Arteta got the job at Arsenal, people were suggesting, saying, "Oh, is this Arsenal's Frank Lampard and Gerrard? Is it going to go that way?" So
Yeah, exactly.
ultimately, now it's completely spun it on its head, and it's like, well, hang on. Every single member of the golden generation that's tried their hands at coaching has ultimately failed at the top level. And Arteta and Xabi Alonso, coming from the similar era in Spanish football, have absolutely shown that they were the ones listening to their coaches and focusing on their coaching career, where the others were potentially sort of awarded a job on the back of their name and probably had quite a naive approach to management, I would suggest. Hence why Wayne Rooney is now taking over the job at Plymouth Argyle.
It must be.
At least with Mareska, you're getting a guy who's worked with Graham Potter for 4 years at West Brom.
Potter?
It must be.
Yeah, Enzo
Yeah.
Mareska and Graham Potter played together at West Brom.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
It must be. It
No,
must
no,
be
no.
exhausting.
Kieran McKenna is now increasingly likely to stay as Ipswich when he rejected their deal.
What about Brighton?
Good.
What's the deal there? Well, I'm
Brighton,
sure he.
Brighton want to
They're going to
go
Graham
back
Potter.
into
Bring in
Potter.
Graham
Graham
Potter.
Potter.
Brighton want to go back into Potter, apparently.
He
One of my
embarrassed.
favourites.
I think Kieran McKenna embarrassed himself.
How did he embarrass himself? He wants the United
He
job.
rejected. Ipswich offered him the contract. He kept working for all the clubs, and at the end, nobody wanted him.
Because he wanted the
He just
United
wanted.
job.
I think he just wanted United. Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, if he'd gone to Brighton, that would have been shit. If he'd gone to United, you'd have been like, fair enough. That job doesn't come around, or well, it comes around quite a lot these days. But you take United when you can get it. If he'd gone from Ipswich to Brighton, you'd have been like, after getting them promoted back to back, that would have been awful.
Okay,
So I'm
so
glad he's not going to do that.
if he's going to go there and the United job, I'm not sure what's going to happen there. Why did De Zerbi leave?
I think
the Zerbi, in my opinion, I think the Zerbi left because he wanted to now aspire for something more than swapping your goalkeeper every game.
Are there any big jobs going in Italy now?
Milan.
Oh no,
Milan.
Milan got Fonseca.
No, Milan's done though, isn't?
Fonseca is still linked. Someone is linked to it. There's
Maybe
not
he's
a
like
big
going
job.
for one of
I
those.
actually think at the end, the Zerbi
Napoli?
might end up with Conte's there.
I still
Conte's
think.
about to be.
I
Is that
still think. I think De Zerbi's going to United, and I've been saying
That
it
means
for-
Lukaku's
I
going
think so
Napoli, right?
too, Rory. I think so too, Rory. I think
Supposedly,
it's a match made in heaven.
there was a rumor, strong rumor, that a club had paid compensation to Brighton to let De Zerbi go, but that they didn't want to be named. And I'm certain it was United. United didn't want to do it ahead of the FA Cup final, so they wanted that to remain secret. So they were waiting. I think United's biggest issue is genuinely that Ten Hag won the FA Cup because they couldn't. I think the plan. I think the plan all along was they lose the FA Cup, which they thought they'd do. The day after was, okay, Ten Hag, that's up, and we bring in De Zerbi. And now they're like, well, we can't sack him the day after that. Like, that's so bad if we sack him the day after the FA Cup. So now I think that's why we're waiting now. I think if Ten Hag was staying, they'd have come out the day after the FA Cup and gone, Ten Hag staying. Why would you continue with this uncertainty into the summer? I still think the plan is that he goes. I still think the plan is that De Zerbi comes in. It's just they're going to have to wait a week or two to let it all die down and then pull the trigger.
I think there's potential that United might just keep Ten Hag on because of that FA Cup win and the reaction that's apparently comes from that.
That's terrible if they do.
Just out of interest, has anyone taken the Ajax job yet, or is that still open as well?
Yes, the Nice manager's taken it.
Oh, he has. Right,
okay.
Yeah. Thing is, if Ten Hag stays, I wouldn't have a problem with that if the plan was for Ten Hag to stay. If they've let that FA Cup final alone completely change their mind, I think that's a big problem.
Ornstein's just said that McKenna's signing a new deal at Ipswich.
Oh.
So that takes him out the race for United. Yeah. So if it is De Zerbi, if it's not De Zerbi, United will be keeping Ten Hag because there's no one else.
I think it's De Zerbi.
Well, there's Tuchel.
Emery's also signed another 5 years.
I don't think they want. I'm not sure if they want to.
Xavi?
There's definitely managers out there. Yeah, there's
by
Xavi,
the
Tuchel,
way,
there's
Xavi. I think Xavi this morning. I know this Mareska and all the stuff. Xavi is starting to lure around England, Man United. I wouldn't be surprised if Xavi is on the radar of Chelsea and they just haven't told us yet.
Yeah, Southgate.
I don't, Rory.
What? By the way,
We could dream.
what's this obsession with Xavi?
Well,
Like,
he's available, I guess.
It's just his name, I think. I think it's his name.
I don't think he's actually that good of a manager.
No, he
I
seems a
don't
bit
think he's-
naive.
I don't think he's awful. The thing is, if he's being
By
compared
the
to
way,
who's
people
out
in
there,
Spain think he's a mug.
Really?
Yeah. If you ask the people that actually support Barcelona or Real Madrid or Atletico, they will tell you he's not good in coaching.
I mean, if you just
Right.
look at the
At
way
all.
that
Even though
his
he won the
time at
league, I don't
Barca
watch enough. You know what I mean? All I know is that 2 years in a row he got out of the group stage, if I'm not mistaken.
the thing is, the year they won the league,
no.
they also got knocked out of Europa by United, right? That was the same season.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean, the league was more maybe down to Real Madrid falling
This
off.
season they went to the quarterfinal of the Champions League. That's what people say.
Yeah,
But anyway,
it was
I actually think Xavi would work at Chelsea or Manchester United. And I'm going to tell you something. If Xavi took over Liverpool, he would have been good as well.
No, it wouldn't have. No, it wouldn't have. He's shit. He's not a good manager. He's not a good manager.
Because of what?
Because he's just not. Look at his European pedigree with fucking Barcelona. He had their man in the whoa.
Has a lot of European pedigree. Yeah, we know that.
Yeah, Arne Slot made a final of the European competition. Xavi didn't get close.
Oh my God. You're really thinking that Arne Slot is better than Xavi as a coach?
But what's Xavi done? He won the league with
Won
Barcelona.
La Liga against Real Madrid?
Well done. That was a Real Madrid side that was fucked with injuries and had no striker because Benzema was crocked all season. The moment they replaced Benzema with a striker, they stormed the league again, while Xavi finishes second. And realistically, if fucking Girona didn't shit themselves midway through the season, they finished third.
Not to say anything as well, but didn't Xavi win like 5-6 trophies with his last team before Barcelona as well?
That's in Qatar.
Well, he still won trophies though. You got to win. Ange was winning trophies in a league similar to Qatar.
No. In Qatar, it doesn't count. It doesn't count.
Why?
Because it doesn't count. Because I'm not going there. But it doesn't count. It's just I'm not going to. Why Xavi won the trophies at Qatar? I'm not going there.
When did he take over Barca?
But anybody here think that Ten Hag deserves? Okay, so this is just a segue to Man United before we go. Anyone think that Ten Hag deserves to stay then?
I do. I genuinely think Ten Hag has just got such unfair stick. I think the playing squad, the biggest thing for me that Ten Hag has got wrong is if he's had anything to do with recruitment, which suggest with the players that have come in, it suggests it's likely that he did have a say. I think he's massively underestimated the level and the gap between the Eredivisie and the Premier League. Massively, because the majority of his players that he's brought in have absolutely failed. But actually, as what he's got from this Manchester United side in 2 seasons now, he's won 2 trophies. And I think actually if he is given a little bit more time and backing and hopefully shows that he's learned from his lessons, I don't think it's that bad. But like Rory said, this season's not been great. And if they actually just change their mind on an FA Cup performance, that shows to me it's just too volatile.
This is the thing, right?
I'll stop it. I just want to go back to the Xavi point. You know, one of the trophies Xavi won in Qatar. No, because one of the trophies Xavi won in Qatar was the 𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤 Cup, i.e. the same 𝙤𝙤𝙤𝙤 that tried to buy Manchester United. He has a cup named after him in the Qatar League, but Xavi won in 2019. Why does he have a cup in Qatar?
Vibes. I'd love if Ten Hag stayed.
Unai Emery signed 5-year deal at Aston Villa.
Yeah, I'd love it if Ten Hag stayed. I don't particularly rate him, so I hope they keep him. I hope he gets an extension.
The thing is, right? Okay, they did win the FA Cup, so credit in the bank for him. But we all did say at the start that we feel like they won it because Pep got it wrong, Man City got it wrong. If you take that one game out of it, and again, like you can't just take a game out of it because it was a game that they won the cup. But if you did, then you're looking at a guy who, from where he picked United up to where he's left them now, okay, he won a Carabao Cup. He finished bottom of the group in the Champions League in a relatively poor Champions League group with Galatasaray and Copenhagen. He's taken them to their worst. It is their worst ever Premier League record, right? In terms of points and stuff that they finished on.
Yes,
like that's you do look at that, you know, do they play better football now than they did before? I don't think
No.
so. He spent a lot of money, a significant amount of money, badly. Like, and I'm again, like, no, Martin, I specifically said you can't take it out. Do you listen? Do you listen? I'm saying you can't take that out of it. But if you're talking about performances and justification for keeping him, you would have to look at where he's taken the club in terms of performances, the way they play, and all of that sort of stuff. And you could understand why before the FA Cup final they'd already made their decision. And that's why I think if you then change it based on the outcome of that game, I'm not sure that's the right thing to do. But again, the market isn't great either, so I'd probably just keep him.
Oh my God, Erik ten Hag, if he stays at United, it will be absolutely horrific next season.
It'd be great. I'd love it.
Thing is, you just know they'll give, if they do keep him, they'll give him 3 months at the start of next season, and if it doesn't start well, they'll get rid of him.
Yeah,
and that'll be
Okay,
a bad decision to
let me
make.
do this super chat before we go to the last topic before the team of the season. Terence Tips is saying, completely agree with Rory. Erik ten Hag is more successful than Arteta, but Arteta left a better impact and direction. 8th and FA Cup is Arteta's first season. That's very fair. That's very fair. Yeah, thank you, Terence. But that's absolutely, this is what Rory said. Thank you so much. Mookie saying, question for everyone in panel. Big up, first of all. Great to see you all doing well. Thank you, Mookie. Where gonna Liverpool, in your opinion, gonna finish next season? Tom?
Third.
Third, everyone?
Fourth.
At least in
Who's
top
gonna
four.
finish third? Hold on.
Outside the top four.
If you say fourth, who's gonna finish third?
Spurs.
They're probably. You know what? I don't know.
I think Spurs will finish third. I think they'll.
Sorry, Rory, go on.
No, I think they'll both finish a fair way off City and Arsenal, and they'll be close. They'll be battling out third and fourth for most of the season. But I think.
What if Chelsea hired Zerbi? Okay.
They're not going to.
Probably 9th, 8th, 9th.
If you hire Zerbi, you're gonna finish 8th or 9th.
Yeah.
Zerbi's also not a good manager. Let's keep it real.
Yeah, that's it. I think the Zerbi hype,
chill.
apart from like a style of football that looks amazingly good when it like turns out okay, but don't forget that this guy does not have a plan B and fails to adapt in so many different games. Like,
Depends on the transfer window. I'd go Liverpool fourth, I reckon. Depends on the window, though.
Yeah, I think it depends on the window for me, for Liverpool, but I think it's going to be 2nd or 5th. If the window's not good, I think they might finish outside top 4. If they have a good window, I think they could push on to 2nd.
Have you got Chelsea in 4th?
Hold on, and who's finishing?
Chelsea?
Who's
probably
third?
14th.
Why you got?
We've got like Villa, maybe.
Who's third? Then who's third?
Arsenal.
So you think Slot can come in season 1 and beat Arteta?
Again with the Arsenal.
It could potentially happen.
Crazy,
look, I really like.
Is it hope?
This feeling he's never going to win anything.
You hope?
I hope he doesn't.
Or you actually predict that?
No, I've just got a feeling that I felt that this year was it for Arsenal, and I backed them from the beginning, saying that I thought they'd win the league. And I actually think when you look at the Manchester City team, that the fact that they've really struggled against some of the top 6 this season, I feel like it was there for Arsenal. I just feel like they kind of let it slip in a few games early on. I feel like they probably will progress, but maybe they might throw their focus into just making sure they win a trophy elsewhere rather than fighting for a Premier League they might not win.
I always love this was their chance. It's not going to happen again. When we missed out on top 4 to Spurs, everyone said this was their chance to get back in the Champions League. Following season, title race. Missed out on the title. This was the only chance they're ever going to get to win the title. And then it's the same this summer. So we'll see.
I just think, hear me out, Rory, right? And look, if you go and win it, fair play. And I'm sure if you do go and win it, it will be absolutely exceptional in terms of the Arsenal that turn up to beat this Manchester City side even now. And next season and whatever, because I fully believe Manchester City next season will be a stronger City side than they've been this year, because I believe they're going to go into the transfer market and focus on improving the weaknesses that we've seen sort of creep in a little bit this season. The issue I have with Arsenal, though, is that I just feel like if Arteta replicates this season again and you finish 2nd to a Manchester City side that are inevitably not catchable, that's sackable for me. So I think he has to go and win a trophy. So I think he might focus on winning trophies next season, FA Cup, League Cup, Champions League, whatever it is, rather and then hoping that momentum carries on into winning the league. I'm just not sure that at this moment in time, that Arsenal squad is good enough to go and fight for a Premier League and a couple of trophies, which I think are an absolute must next season. Because if we're having the exact same discussion this time next year, no trophies and second again, I just don't think that's good enough. So
I'm actually gonna twist the. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go on, Mo. Go on.
No, I was gonna twist it a little bit after we do the super chat because it's related to Pep, because this is a very good hypothetical situation, right? Chelsea never had a blueprint for success if it relied on offshore accounts to get players, purchases, and managers hires over the line.
No.
True.
It's absolutely false, though.
I mean,
20 trophies.
Even if you want to base it like that, that's a successful blueprint and how much it won. It just wasn't the traditional one.
Well, as long as you don't get caught, it's a very successful blueprint.
Yeah, ask Nobbins, right?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
As long as
I mean, I don't want to be a
caught.
conspiracy theorist, but Pep Guardiola leaving Man City the moment the charges are gonna kick in.
Yeah, I know, right, Tom? I know.
Yes.
I'm not going to bite. I'm not going to bite.
Realistically, what you think the new manager needs to do to keep his job? That's for Dan. Also, how long are you willing to wait to compete for Premier League again, Dan?
I'll be honest. I think I would have probably given it 3-4 seasons from the new ownership to sort of rip up what was there as they were doing, implement a new squad, and on the timings that sort of Pep Guardiola was leaving Manchester City, they were aiming. They even said themselves they were aiming to have a 100-point Premier League team by the time that Pep Guardiola leaves Manchester City. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case. And ultimately, what was the other part of the question as well?
How long are you willing to wait? That's what it is.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I'm just not sure in terms of waiting anymore, because I think the patience is running out because of the decisions that are being made. To be honest with you, I just don't think they're acceptable. If you're fighting for the Premier League, they're probably not. The only thing I try and persuade myself is that it could be an okay decision. Is that we've obviously seen Barcelona hired Pep Guardiola from he'd even got relegated, I think, with Barcelona B at one point. Zidane as well was part of the youth team. Xabi Alonso's thrown himself into the deep end and done what he did. Arteta as well. I just kind of want to get behind someone like Mareska and hope that it does work out and we do move in the right direction and he is able to identify players in the correct way that Pochettino wasn't, and actually put something together. And I'll back him and I'll be behind him 100% of the way. But if he looks like he's out of his depth again, it'll just show me that the board haven't learned, and then that would be the issue for me. But if I was being given a job that Mareska's being given, I'd want to be given a chance to prove that I was good enough to do it if I believed in myself as well. So that's the issue there. I'm trying to be logical with that. Do I think it's the right type of appointment and Chelsea should be taking that chance on someone? No, I've made that really clear. And the new manager, what does he need to do? Well, ultimately, if we look at this board, it's probably got to be above 6th if we're saying that Pochettino's sacking was based on results. And if it isn't, it absolutely has to be gelling this team together, making it look like in 2 seasons' time it could compete. Because I think that's the thing, isn't it? With Arteta, even though he finished 8th, the evidence was there in the way that Arsenal were playing to suggest that the next season, if this continues, this upwards trajectory, they will quite easily move on and become a threat towards Manchester City's reign. And I think that's what we wanted to see from Pochettino, and it took way too long. So if Mareska can show evidence that he's the right man for the job and Chelsea are moving in the right direction, something that Potter failed to do in a similar sort of appointment, then I would suggest that might actually be enough. Because I don't know if this board want to keep being impatient. I just think this one needs to be, whoever gets appointed, by the way, has to absolutely be on the same wavelength and ideas as Chelsea's board and ownership. Otherwise, the relationship is just going to break down again.
Part of the reason why I didn't understand
It's a very detailed answer, though. What if the Zerbi is going City next year? Thank you, Zenical. And that leads us to Pep Guardiola leaving. I'm going to put a hypothetical here, right? If Pep Guardiola is leaving, right? Pep Guardiola, this is very tricky, though, for Arsenal. By the way, Pep Guardiola leaving is very tricky for Arsenal fans. Let's say Arsenal don't win the Premier League next season, the Champions League, but Pep quits or leaves, Will Arsenal fans ask for Arteta to be sent? And I don't want to take this to Arteta, but Pep first. If he leaves, why would Arsenal ask Arteta to? Isn't he supposed to be the guy that will take them over the line?
Yeah, I don't think it would be the same very small, very vocal minority of people that want Arteta out now that would be Arteta out next summer. I think there's a fairly logical line of thought that Arsenal have been planning for Pep to leave in a lot of what we've done in terms of even last summer. We aged down our squad again last summer, despite the fact that we didn't necessarily need to. And I think there is a line of thought that the plan for a while has been set Arsenal up so that when Pep leaves, we are absolutely the #1 team to take advantage of City dropping off. So yeah, I mean, what, like, if you wanted Arteta to go next summer so that the first season in the league in a decade without having Pep Guardiola in it, you had a new manager, you'd be absolutely.
But to be honest with you, it's not a minority. Like someone like, for example,
I've never spoken to a person in real life that thinks that Arteta should go.
Dio,
it's a minority.
Dio, who backs Arteta all year, thinks that if Arteta doesn't win anything next year, he should be moved on. Dio is a very like positive. Huh?
I've never spoken to Dio in real life. I said I've never spoken to someone in real life that would want Arteta. And also, what sort of context do you put around the framing of that question? If you say Arteta finishes next season on 98 points, but City finish on 99, and we reach a Champions League final, and we reach an FA Cup final, but we just don't win a trophy, would that still be Arteta out? So you've just finished on 98 points, but you say Arteta out because we didn't win it. If there's no context, it's a fairly fruitless question anyway. But I just think that would be, even if Arsenal had quite a bad season next season, I think it would be wild to not give Arteta the opportunity to win the league in the absence of Guardiola.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that, Rory. What would your thoughts be if like, do you want to give Arteta that one shot at it without Pep? Like, is that something you think?
Yeah, I mean, the big thing is, I mean, I would absolutely love us to beat Pep next season anyway, right? The idea of waiting for him to leave, I'd rather just beat him whilst he's still here anyway. But yes, I do think that we've built a squad, a young squad, basically ready to capitalize on.
Yeah, Saudi, I would say no one of our players are near their prime, and half your team was old in their prime while chasing City. That's is talking about Liverpool. Yeah, that's the difference. Nobbins, Pep.
Hello.
Is that true that Pep is leaving though? Is that something that you are actually? Do you believe that?
Nobbins in the know.
Yeah, I'm wide into the matrix right now. I don't know. I think the point is that all these articles are coming out, and that's fine. But these articles have also said, sort of like a footnote at the end. Arteta's not made a Pep's not made a formal decision, and so no one knows. So there's obviously speculation. And it depends. I think that if City don't win the Premier League title next season, I think that Pep would extend. I don't think that Pep would go. I don't think Pep would leave City not winning the league, personally. Maybe if he does win it, maybe he then does leave. Maybe he wins it and it's like, well, I'm greedy, I want to do 6. I don't know. We can't possibly know. It's all, as I say, it's all speculation. The season's over, so that it's now the time to do that. So yeah, I've no idea what's going to happen. As I say, it might totally depend on what we actually achieve next year. Again, if we lose, is Pep going to want to go out on a not winning the title with City? I don't think so. So yeah, I don't know, to be honest. I hope he extends, obviously. I guess what I would say is that whenever Pep leaves, I personally don't. There will definitely be a drop off. Of course there will, because Pep's Pep. I don't think it's going to be like a Fergie leaving United situation where the whole club just absolutely jumps off a cliff, because Fergie left that squad in an absolutely horrendous. I'm not having to go at Fergie here, but he did leave it in a horrendous state in respect of like the average age of that back four was about 83 years old, and you had an injury-prone Robin van Persie, and you had a Wayne Rooney whose better years were behind him. Conversely, in relative terms, Pep's rebuilding the City squad, and there's lots of youthful players: Foden, Doku, Gvardiol, etc., Bob Lewis, Haaland, Alvarez. and we might bring in some young players as well. So there will be a drop off, but let's not act like City are just going to be absolutely crap when Pep leaves. Like, we won league titles before Pep came. We got to Champions League semi-finals before Pep came. I don't think we've finished outside the top 4 since like 2010. So if people are hoping that City, as I say, go off a cliff, it's not going to happen. They'll still be challenging. Will they be as good? No. But yeah, I think we just need to make that evident as well. Who knows, Mo? Maybe we'll get your manager. Maybe we'll get 𝙁𝙁𝙗𝙁, and maybe 𝙁𝙁𝙗𝙁 will win the Premier League.
What do you think his motivation is for staying even this season? Like, in terms of...
Well, he's got a contract.
Yeah, of course. But outside, like, in terms of like, okay, if you'd won the Champions League this season, then you could have gone for 3 in a row and, you know, Champions Leagues. I guess you could do like the 5-peat, but it's kind of why the thing, and I'm not saying... I'm basically saying, why do you think he leaves at the end of next season? Other than the contract itself, why at the end of next season and not the end of this season? Like, what's he still playing for?
Well, I don't know if there is another answer outside of he has a contract and he's going to honour it.
Is that it? Yeah. Is
There's
next year the end of the
another
contract?
answer that is so easy. What do you want him to do, Rory?
What do you mean? I want him to fuck off.
What do you want him to do?
I want him to leave. Leave us alone.
Go where? Like, you're Pep Guardiola
Fucking
now.
Prison.
Brilliant. Yeah, there is no other
like,
club
there
in
is
world
there is
football
something
who
else
would...
that people don't realize.
What's
what he
Klopp
wants.
doing? What's Klopp doing this year?
No, but I'll tell you the difference. This guy, Pep Guardiola, right, isn't that old. He has been coaching only since 2008 in the top teams in Barcelona, right, when he took over. So it's basically 16 years only of coaching career, right? There is no other team that will offer him what City. When he left Barcelona, there was Bayern Munich and there was Manchester City. There was Manchester United at that time. If we remember, Alex Ferguson left and David Moyes and all the stuff. There was Juventus with a lot of money at that time. If he leaves now, should he just retire? Is that what? I don't see him going anywhere else.
Just take a year off.
Mo,
And
why
then
is
do
your
what? And then do what?
Mo,
And then
why
do
is your instant reaction always right? There's no job available now, so he should just call it quits at his entire career. Go have a sabbatical like you don't have to Barca.
Go manage England, win us the World Cup, come back to City, do another 4-peat.
Catalonia. Like, it's like you guys want to quit and you can't offer him another, like, somewhere else where he would go. He's not going to Barcelona back because they can't back him. Go ahead.
The thing is, right, is that the thing with football is there's always a challenge. He might have decided that he's ultimately done what he can with a top club in the best leagues in the world. Yes. Who says that he isn't open to potentially trying his hand at a club that might take a bit more work or a national team's job or something like that? There's always a challenge to be found in football, wherever it is. Who says that he hasn't already got enough money and decides to go to Italy or decides to go somewhere else? I don't know. We don't know Pep himself. What I think is probably going to happen is what Tom said. I think he probably will take a sabbatical. I think he probably will take a year off. He's done that before. I don't think he's ever been sacked. So he's probably just going to see out his contract, just leave. He doesn't want to be putting that on his record at all. So if he extends time past that contract, he might be risking that happens. I'm not suggesting that he would be, and it would take some fall off, but you just never know. He's probably honouring that contract because he agreed to commit to that long.
He's apparently been given, again, this is according to people who are in the know, apparently he's been given a future offer to work with New York City FC, who are part of the City Football Group. So, but the idea was that was going to be, you know, a fair few years' time. Maybe he's got
family in New York, by the way, because on his last
interesting.
I think he went to his sister in New York, by the way.
All right, so maybe he's fast forwarding that plan to just go and, I say, maybe have a year off, then maybe go chill out because he's
quit football in Europe. Oh my God!
But maybe come back.
Mo,
like, you never know. Maybe he'll come back in 10 years. We don't know, do we?
Yeah, Mo, your point about him being so young flips the other way. That he doesn't have. If he stops managing in Europe now, that's not it for the rest of his life. He can go and do stuff for a couple of years and then come straight back to it. He's young enough.
He could also, for a guy who is so obsessed with football as well, he could also just retire and enjoy his life and be very happy that in both football and in management,
Thank you. I'm with you here, Dan. I want him to retire because I want
look at the fear. Look at the fear this man evokes.
I want Pep to leave Europe. I want Pep.
I don't.
No, I don't.
I really.
He's a joy though, Mo. Like it's Pep.
I want him to go to a club that is. I want him to go.
Ruin football, bro.
No, he didn't ruin football. He made it great and
amazing. He only
put together two of the best teams to ever play.
he only ruined it in your head mode because City have been so successful, everyone tries to play like it now. But I quite like him to go to a club
I
that
said that
isn't.
since 2009, Rory.
Yeah, that's fine. But again,
Oh.
I'd like him to go to a club that struggles.
Breaking news, by the way, just on Chelsea.
right.
𝙂𝙧𝙚𝙢𝙢𝙪𝙾 and Stuart are flying to Marbella to hold face-to-face talks with Mareska.
What?
In Marbella.
that-
Nice.
Why is Mareska doing fucking Marbella?
Yeah.
He's enjoying his holiday. He's chilling.
You're what? You're what?
Them talks are not going to be very business related. They'll last about 5 minutes on business and then just go fucking like Fender. Look at Marbella.
Go ahead, Rory.
No, I'd just like to see him go and take a club that isn't already very successful, and I'd like to see him go to Wrexham. I know they are
so
successful,
funny.
but like just something fun. Surely Man City have paid him enough money. He doesn't need the most expensive, lucrative deal in the world possible to continue managing. Where's the passion for the game? Go and do, go and join Wrexham. Bring them to the Premier League. Win a Premier League with Wrexham.
I'd like to see him go Roma or Brescia. Like they're two teams he's been at as a player as well. Like why not just go out there and
Why
there's
not
always
Roma,
been that
right?
thing where
Why not
Huh?
Roma? Why not
he was at
Roma?
Roma, no? Roma?
Yeah,
I'm sure he
Yeah,
played.
he was. I thought he played at Roma. Yes.
Yeah. So like everyone always says about how he needs all this money and blah blah blah. But wouldn't it be good to actually just go and see him do it without this massive transfer budget and shut everyone up that doesn't believe he's
He
a good
played
coach
4
because
games
he
for
so
Roma,
obviously
guys.
is.
So I don't think that
Yeah, but
counts.
he still went there.
Legacy.
Legacy, you never know.
He's already got the promotion with Barca B. He's chill. He's fine. It's all good. He already won the title with Barca B.
I reckon he'll. I reckon full circle's not out of the question either. By the way, like Barcelona, why not?
Oh my god.
Unless he may have might change his view, obviously, but he has gone on record saying he never wants to go back to Barca. To be fair,
Oh,
said that
really?
chapter in my life's done. I don't want to go back. Opinions change, but that's his current take on it.
Someone said, "What if he goes to Spurs?" I mean, for him.
To be fair, he probably owes Spurs that after the fucking.
I imagine he wants less stress in his life, not more.
Yeah.
Like what?
I personally hope he just goes and manages a club that can never play against Liverpool again because I've had enough of that man.
What if he came to manage Liverpool for whatever reason?
He's just a shit on his loss.
I mean, I don't think there's a single club. There aren't many clubs that couldn't play Liverpool at some point or another in any way, shape, or form.
Go to America. Go.
Yeah, but they'll be
the
in the
MLS with New York City.
Won't the winners of the MLS be in the Club World Cup thing?
I don't want to be in that shit.
Yeah, but you will be.
I don't want to though.
When does that
There's
start?
no avoiding it.
Watch me just not watch.
You know that the
That's next summer.
has some games, and anyway, they want more games to be played. But anyway, listen.
I was just gonna say someone did a really good suggestion in the chat. Ajax. That would actually be a really nice sort of
Cruyff,
thing. He came from the Cruyff school, Cruyff, Ajax, massive club, European pedigree, would win the league easily, etc. That's a good shout.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh, imagine making
Nice.
Ajax
There's about
classic,
800 people here. We can get to 400 likes. And also, I'm sure there's 100 of you that haven't subscribed. Make sure to subscribe and also turn on the notification bell. Thank you for everybody supporting the channel. Ryan, Rere, if we're being honest, it's an easy title win for Arsenal next year. Oh my God. City players won't do a 5-peat knowing Pep is leaving next summer. Tom is a fraud. Oh, why? This is absolutely
Cheers, Mr. 16 out of 10. Yeah. First off, let's just address
why City players won't do 5-peat.
No. Right, so with Ryan, it was City aren't going to win the league because they're not going to do a treble, and then they win the treble. Then City aren't going to win the league this year because no one's ever won 4 in a row. Now they've won 4 in a row, and now it's City aren't going to win 5 in a row because Pep's leaving. You said they're not going to win for the last 2 years running, and they've won. This is Man City. I think Arsenal can become favourites next year, but to use the term easy title is massively off.
The league is so terrible. We won't finish below 3rd. However, Arsenal will be in control through, in my opinion. Congrats to Arsenal in advance.
Oh my God! Get Gunnosaurus's dick out your mouth, please.
Weren't you literally in the Europa League this season because you finished outside the top 4 last season?
Yes.
Anyway, in this terrible league. That was with Klopp.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate you. NYU is saying he can coach a country and try to win a World Cup and a Continental Trophy. I think that is his best bet. I think that
England.
is his best bet.
He wants to manage Brazil. I think that's his dream.
Why Brazil?
I think there's something to do with Spain because he's from Catalonia, isn't he? And there's a whole
Spain might not work, boys. to be
thing
honest.
there. But
Spain is
he
not gonna
likes
work, you know
he
that,
likes
right?
Brazil.
Well,
Yeah.
England, do it for Phil.
Good point. Yeah.
Anyway, if you guys still want to do the team of the season, we can. Otherwise, we can do it another day. It's up to you guys, to be honest.
Novin's only turned up here to do team of the season. He's got to spend the talk about fucking.
It's up to you.
I
We're an hour,
want
we're an hour and a half
go.
in. This is going to take 45 minutes at least or something like this. Or
No,
at
it's not
least
because we're all
30 minutes.
sensible and we'll all be able to come to reasonable conclusions
Yeah,
easily.
if we can rattle it off in 15 minutes, then
Yeah, I've got 15.
There we go. We can do
I
that.
don't think we
Boom.
can do it in 15, but fine.
We'll prove you wrong. We'll prove you wrong.
I reckon we
Goalkeeper
all
pick
agree
for-
on the exact same 11.
There's
we
no
go.
reason
I
for
don't-
me to do team of the season then. If we're going to
I
do it
don't.
in
I
15
don't. I
minutes.
know because we don't agree on the exact same 11 because fucking Tom's just thrown Pickford in there, so we're gonna
Yeah,
have to
because
go through
Pickford
it
should
one
be
by
in
one.
goal.
We're
Oh,
gonna
I
have to go through it one by
agree.
one. Oh fucking hell!
See,
Right, it's gonna
thank
take
you,
what?
Robin.
Mo, it's gonna take an hour and a half.
I know it is,
see?
bro. I know it is. I promise you it is. We're not
We
going to
can do it. We can do it, I reckon. The
You want to do it
midfield.
now? You don't want to leave
the
it.
midfield
You
will
don't want to
take-
leave it for an episode.
The midfield will take 10 seconds. We can definitely do it right now.
What's your midfield? Let me just start here. What's your midfield?
What's your midfield?
No. You're the one who said 10 seconds, not me. You're the one who said 10
It's
seconds.
Rodri, Rice, Foden, obviously.
Okay, Rory.
Yeah, probably. Do you know what? Fair.
All right.
I struggle not to put 𝙁𝙗𝙁 in there, but it is what it is.
Right wing,
Palmer.
Palmer.
left wing.
Gordon.
See,
Yeah,
done.
Yeah, Gordon's a
Forward.
shout, actually. I'd live with Gordon.
I don't. I'd soon. I know. I don't know. The South team. I'd put Watkins out on the left and then try and fit a striker up top.
No,
Oh, I'm doing
Watkins
it.
has to-
I'm doing it position
I
to
can't do
position.
this.
For me,
out
Watkins
position
has to
stuff.
start up top ahead of Haaland.
See, because I don't do team of the season as left winger, right winger. I do it as defender, midfielder, forward.
But we're
Only
doing it
Watkins has to
positions.
start over Haaland, and I think even Nobbins would agree with that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I wouldn't put Haaland
yeah.
in the team, but I would put
I've
Watkins
Left
up
winger
top.
has to be Gordon, to be honest, or Youngmin's son or something.
See, so
But
already we've done the midfield
Stop.
and attack in the space of 2 minutes. There you
there's
go.
no by the way, you guys are not fun doing team of the season. What about the defenders?
White,
Rashford.
Saliba, Gabriel, Gvardiol.
See, I'd have Van
I mean,
Dijk in there.
I would.
I would say Van Dijk, Gabriel,
White.
White, Gavardia.
Yeah, but
Van
now
Dijk-
we're gonna run into the same problem again, where it should be
Saliba.
3 centre backs and a full back, but I can't have that because we do left backs here. It should be White on the right, Van Dijk and Saliba in the middle, and Gabriel on the left. That should be the
This
back
is
four.
one of the worst team of the seasons episodes I've done in my life, and I've done tons of them.
Yes, because
Also, by the way, just saying, I'd have Haaland up front. By the way, he still scored 31 goals.
Yeah, big
Hey,
up, big up.
shit. He had
Okay,
terrible
well,
seasons.
let's not go too
No.
far. It wasn't
He's
shit.
basically
Let's not be
Haaland's
silly.
done himself a disservice from what he did last year to this year. But if any other player
Dude,
scored 31
okay,
goals in the Prem, there wouldn't
he
even be
nearly ended the
debate.
season with the most GA.
Yeah, honestly, like I don't think
Palmer has more GA than him. Just to
yes,
let you
that's
know.
why I
I
said
do.
he nearly. There was a key word there,
Yeah,
nearly.
Yeah, but Haaland's not in the team
did
to
you say
provide
nearly? I didn't hear
assists.
you.
I think Van Dijk's been well overrated. To get
Oh,
into the
fuck
season.
off, Rory. No, he
I
hasn't.
genuinely
That's crazy.
No, he hasn't.
Overrated.
He was
the
getting
last
player of
thr-
the season, quite rightly getting player of the season shouts up until a couple months ago.
Yeah, but he fell off a cliff in the final couple of months. And the same reason that I wouldn't
Did he?
really argue for 𝙁𝙗𝙁 to be in the team was because the first couple of months of the season he wasn't at it.
Who do you have
say
instead of-
when you say
who
the
do you have
last
instead of
couple of
Odegaard?
months, when you say the
Yeah.
last couple of months he fell off, do you mean the moment we started not winning games?
I thought
You-
Van
I-
Dijk's performances were quite consistent.
Because
No.
the
Yeah,
Van
moment,
Dijk
the
definitely
moment we
looks
stopped winning
closer
games,
to what he was.
No,
the moment we
2020.
stopped winning games
say-
was April.
I know
I
Liverpool
wouldn't
fell
even
off.
say the last
April,
couple of
he wasn't
months.
good.
I wouldn't even say the last couple of months. I said the last 4 or 5. 2024. 2024.
2024.
Mm.
Wait, what?
He
You think
was
it's been
playing
bad
with a
all
bunch of
calendar year?
children. He was the only fit senior world class player we had. He was
That's
playing with
crazy.
a new centre-back partner pretty much every other game. He was playing with a fucking kid making his Premier League debuts at right back, at left back, in midfield. He was the only senior player there, and he still was the best player on the pitch most weeks. Virgil van Dijk
I don't
has to
know.
get in there.
I felt
So
like
what
his
have we
aura
decided?
defending
I
just wasn't really
think
working.
Van Dijk Gabriel is obviously the partnership there. And
I think Van Dijk Saliba.
Oh,
How
I don't know.
Saliba?
Gabriel has been better
left
than
back.
Saliba.
I think
No,
Gabriel is better than Saliba. I really do.
I don't agree this season. I think Gabriel
No,
scored
it's
more
not
goals.
it's not a
Left
general
back.
sentence, but I say Gabriel this season has been better than Saliba.
Fine, but if you think that, then you don't think that Saliba then has been better than Van Dijk.
No.
Nah,
This is a no for me.
No, I don't.
You don't
So
think
that's a
Saliba's
no
been
for
better
me.
than
No,
Van
I
Dijk?
don't think so.
Even.
I think Van Dijk has been better than Gabriel, actually.
Van Dijk has been the best centre back
Call it
in the
off.
league.
Call it off. Call the whole thing off.
Why?
Rory, who do you want us? Because you said you wanted Œdegaard, so who are you swapping out?
No, I don't want Œdegaard. I said I won't force Œdegaard because I
Oh.
didn't think the first couple of months were good enough.
You can't force. Yeah, I was gonna say you can't force him anyway because little Phil's there.
Yeah, but I would try and force him based on the final few months, but I can't because the first couple of months weren't good enough. And the same way, I just don't think Van Dijk.
You just made a blanket statement of Virgil van Dijk was crap in 2024.
I didn't say crap. He wasn't.
But we were
as good as he
unbeaten
was
with him in the team until April. And he was the
Yeah.
only senior player playing week in, week out. If you want to pin that on any other Liverpool player, it's the midfielders that came back and fucking Donkey and Puss in Boots up top who couldn't score the goals that we were creating. Like that.
I like Van
just
Dijk.
think-
On them.
I like
I think
Van
it's
Dijk. I like Van Dijk.
I like him this season. I think that a lot of people were having him in their like top 3 of player of the season. I don't think Liverpool falling off should impact that. So I think he's got to get into the team.
But they were conceding chances all season, and we were all
That's
predicting
not
that
Van
Liverpool
Dijk,
would fall away at some point because of the chance they. I'm not saying it's
That's
all
not
Van
Van
Dijk. I'm not saying it's all Van Dijk, but I did feel like at times his aura defending wasn't working. His reading of the game was a bit off. It's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. I'm sorry.
But you want to put Guard? Hold on, no. But then the whole point is mute when Guardiola makes it because Guardiola only really came in the last couple of months, and Nobbin's going to attest to that because Ake was the better one in the first half of the season.
But that's only because I do it positionally, so I have to get a left back in. And Guardiola's not really a left back, but he's played there most of the season. It's him or Udogie at left back.
This is why you should just allow. It should just be defenders, midfielders, attackers, and I put Gabriel, Saliba, Van Dijk.
If we do defenders, I'm fighting the biggest fight for Manu Akanji. I'll tell you that right now. So pick that fight.
The problem is if you don't go positionally, I swear, like last year, I think Ben Foster had a team of the season that had a front 3 of Kane, Haaland, and Mitrovic. And you just look at that and you go, we can't have a front 3 of.
Yeah, but I'm not doing this team to chuck it onto a football pitch. I'm doing this team to give credit to all the players who were the best.
Yeah.
Because like as we can understand, we're now getting in the position where there has really not been a good left back this season. But
yeah,
there's been multiple really good centre backs. But now some really good centre backs are missing out because we've got to chuck in a fucking left footer. That's the part where I disagree with. In the same way that with the forward line, I think there's been a lot of really good strikers this year. But because we're doing it, it's got to be a left winger. Gordon gets in. Gordon's had a good season. Gordon should not be making team of the season.
What?
No. My main issue with the dropping Saliba is that he kept more clean sheets in the league than any other player in the entire league, and
I'm not
he was
dropping
a fundamental
Saliba,
part of that. Okay, good on you. But the issue is that you definitely put Pickford in ahead of Raya because you'll say that Raya isn't that good, but his defense in front of him is. But then you drop one of the key defenders in front of him as well.
I don't want to drop Saliba anyway. I say Pickford because
or Gabriel.
I didn't drop either of them. Like I said, I don't want to play a fucking left back. I should Gabriel at left back if I need to. Left footed, he can do a job for me there. That's fine. Cold in the sand.
As long as White, Gabriel, and Saliba are in it.
Yeah, Everton had the 4th best defense in the Premier League this year.
Yeah, I think
that's why Pickford gets in there for me.
I think Pickford had a really good season, actually. I think it's kind of gone under the radar a little bit.
I will not sit on Footy Judgment ever and have Pickford anywhere near any team of the season.
I agree.
Guy,
you should be right.
I think the guy's a vile person. I think the guy's a vile person. I think the guy is not a good guy, and I really don't want him anywhere near any team of the season. I genuinely, one of the people that I dislike is Jordan Pickford, because I think he injures players on purpose. I think the tackle that he went on Van Dijk was on purpose. I think the guy injures people on purpose. He goes to
got one example.
But has he been the best keeper this season?
No.
Yes, he's been the best. He has been the best goalkeeper this
Who
season.
do you think, Mo, out of interest?
Jordan Pickford. You guys are talking about Jordan Pickford.
I
think?
don't
Had a
think
good
Raya-
season.
I think Raya's been better.
Mo, who do you think?
I think it's even David Raya, or I think it's Alisson.
I don't think it's Raya.
I would love to put out. In the same way that we said you can't put in Odegaard because he didn't play for certain, didn't play well for certain parts. I can't put in Alisson because our really good run this season, he wasn't in goal. It was Kelleher. So I can't justify. Alisson has been Alisson, but he's not been playing every game for me to justify it. The argument for me is between Pickford and Raya, and I just think Pickford, in a side that has faced a lot more chances against, it wasn't expected to do anywhere near as well as it's done. He's made save after save after save. He's had a really good season. His distribution's been good. Everton have the second most clean sheets, and he's got like 7 or 8% better save percentage than David Raya. So when it comes down to pure goalkeeping, yes, he's had to face more, but he's also saved more. I think the art of being a top. I think David Raya in the second half of the season finally established himself and settled in properly. But David Raya in the first half of the season was not necessarily making mistakes that were getting punished, but he was making mistakes. Teams were trying to put, players on him because he was flapping at crosses and stuff. Jordan Pickford hasn't really had a bad game like that this season.
Can I just throw one into the mix as well, who I actually thought was quite good, but he's unfortunately sort of finished the season on a couple of hammerings, was Areola at West Ham.
Areola had a good season as well.
Yeah, I thought he had like a really good season.
The idea that Pickford doesn't make mistakes is so wrong. It's just that they're not memorable mistakes because it's not the same as if a team at a keeper at an Arsenal or a Liverpool or a United or whatever makes a big mistake, people remember it. I've seen Pickford make quite a lot of mistakes this season.
This season, yeah.
I'd give you Chelsea, but beyond that, I don't remember. Because I know when Pickford likes a howl, but I don't remember as many this year he's had in the past.
I'm sure
Chelsea was a bad day. He made loads against Chelsea in the 6-0. But beyond that, I can't remember any.
I don't know. I'm not that first. I do think Raya has been better. But I mean, someone said
Martinez over Raya.
Why nobody's putting Malo Gusto instead of White, though? Is that something?
Oh, get off it, Mo. Fucking Malo Gusto. Come off it.
And defend your man. Defend him.
No, I don't think I'd take that. I don't know. Probably not.
I feel like he hasn't played. How many games has he started? I feel like it's not that
19. 19.
19.
19.
Yeah, that's enough.
19
enough?
I think Ben White probably
sound like a lot.
He played half the season.
Ben White has more GA anyway.
Yeah.
So it's not even like Gusto is this much of a better attacking fullback. Ben White has 2 more GA.
And Ben White's far better than
he is in the best defence in the league.
Yeah.
So again, it's one of them cases where yes, Gusto's showing a lot of potential. It's not team of the season worthy.
Agreed.
This is the most peaceful panel in doing team of the seasons.
I got Foden in midfield, so I'm happy. I don't care about anything else.
I know. It is what it is.
I got my boy.
I haven't even spent it arguing about the players. I've spent it arguing about how we organised it. I don't want to put a left winger or a left back in. I think the left side of the league has been shit this season. The right side has been bettered a lot. So let's just put more right side of players in.
When we did it with HUSAM and the guy, they wanted to put 𝙂𝙧𝙚𝙗𝙗 there instead of Gavardio.
Oh my god!
Nah, yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Nah.
Big up Joshko.
I actually think Bukayo Saka should be in there, but
over
what?
Palmer?
No, not over Palmer. That's the thing. In Tom's world, I'd put Palmer off the left or Saka off the left and get them both in.
My front three, so my team of the season front three would be Palmer on the right, Watkins on the left, and one of Haaland or Solanke up top.
Yeah, that's good. I like that.
No, yeah.
Or purely based on how good his chances.
Or there is another way. We play 3-5-2. When we play Gabriel, Saliba, Van Dijk at the back, Gavardio left wing back because he's playing higher on the pitch, Ben White on the right side,
So
Declan Rice and Rodri, Foden as a 10, and Haaland and Oli Watkins up top.
Whoa, hang on, Cole Palmer.
So then there's no Cole Palmer.
Yeah.
We've lost Cole Palmer.
We've
lost Cole Palmer for
I completely forgot about him. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
Great.
So I think actually, so you drop one of Declan Rice or Rodri and you put Cole Palmer next to Foden.
I know I haven't just heard that horrendous statement. Oh my
Why?
god. Oh my
Why?
god. Oh my god.
Why are we dropping one of Rice or Rodri to accommodate this formation that you've settled upon?
You're dropping
To
one
get
of
Ollie
Rice.
Watkins
You're
and
dropping
okay, so
one of
hold on.
Rice or Rodri to accommodate fucking Gvardiol. What are we doing here?
I think,
to
yeah,
accommodate
Vardy's
Ollie
probably the
Watkins and
droppable player
Haaland, Tom.
there.
Why do you hear with your
No, because you want to go to a back five. Just stick with the back. We had the back four. It was Gabriel, Saliba, Van Dijk, and White.
I actually have a bit now I actually changed my mind. Actually, I'm actually sticking with what I'm saying. The reason why, if I have Gabriel, Saliba, and Van Dijk at the back, I don't need two DMs. I genuinely need one of Declan Rice and Rodri only. You choose one to start. I'm gonna tell you this. This is my lineup. If I have Gvardiol on the left side, and I have Malo Gusto or Ben White, whoever playing right wing back, and I have Cole Palmer and Foden behind Haaland and Ollie Watkins, that's a lethal attack. If I ask you now to choose one of Declan Rice and Rodri to play a DM, which one would you choose?
You've just manufactured this
playing the
entire
back
thing so
four.
that you can make us pick between Rice and Rodri.
Yeah.
No, I
Just
swear not.
This is the most
Because I
clapped
thought about
team
I
I've
have
ever
because
heard.
I thought about I don't think it's important because to be honest with you, and I know that we gotta go. I don't think it's important, right, to accommodate Rice and Rodri together if I have three in the back for Van Dijk, Gabriel, and Saliba, which I think they have been phenomenal.
I think
You
I
have
think the
no
most,
rest
I think the
defense
most
there,
sickening
my
thing
man.
here, everyone. The most
I have no
sickening
what?
thing here is Mo is trying to play a team of the season with 5 centre backs.
Ben
He
White,
knows,
right
he
wing
knows
back.
about how
Okay,
Pep ruins
drop
the beautiful game and
Gvardiol.
wants
I'm
to
gonna
play
tell you
5
something.
centre backs.
I'm gonna do something complete. I'm gonna do it differently. I'm gonna play Doku as a left wing back.
Oh my
Wait, why?
I'm gonna tell
Where's
you what.
Doku- Where's Jeremy come from?
I'm gonna tell you, Jack Grealish. I'm gonna play Anthony Gordon. Forget Doku. Anthony Gordon, a left wing. Jack Grealish last season played on the left side by himself on the line when Man City played 3 at the back and John Stones inverted. This team basically, if I put Anthony Gordon on the left and I put a right winger or whatever on the right side, I don't know who, a right wing
Saka.
back,
Cole.
whatever, right? I can play Gabriel, Saliba, Van Dijk in front of them, one of Rodri and Rice. Nobody's getting past this defense, and I can put the rest to go forward. Pep Guardiola style. Pep Guardiola
Oh my
style.
god. Oh my god.
Yeah,
You'd
you
get
just-
killed on the wings. You'd get
Honestly,
killed on
you're,
the wings.
Did Pep Guardiola last season get done on the wings?
No, because he still had fullbacks playing. They still defended in a 4.
They defended in a
I
4.
think the
Yeah,
real
go
issue
check
is
the
that
formation.
ultimately
I want you, Tom,
just have to
for everybody
award
saying
players.
that, go check the Champions League final. When John Stones' most interceptions, they came on the midfield, way ahead of the back line against Inter.
Fine,
Most
then.
of the
Their
interceptions and
rest
tackles.
defense is still as a 4 then. Would you like the correct
Yeah,
technical term? Their rest defense is still as a 4.
everybody likes to say that, but fine.
Also, I'm
Did
not
you-
using just one game. I'm using more than just
The
the Champions
majority
League
of
final.
the season, the majority of the second half of the season games, John Stones was actually a midfielder, not a defender on the pitch.
He was a midfielder in possession. When
And
they were
out of possession
defending,
as well.
he would
Because,
drop into
do you know
centre
why out
back.
of possession? Do you know why out of possession he was a midfielder as well? Because Man City get the ball as quick as possible. Anyway, listen, we're not gonna dwell on this. We're not gonna dwell on this. Big up HUSAM, he's calling Tom a flip flop. Of course. Dan, of course. Guys, I want to just say something. We got over 800 people here at what time of the show. I'm sure there's a 50 of you that haven't subscribed. You can actually get me to 21,100 now. And we can get to 400 likes live now on the air. There is 30 likes left to get to 400 likes. And also, Nobbins putting out
Hello.
brilliant content in the chat, in the description as well. His channel, tactical analysis, watch-alongs and everything. Rory, 6:30 UK time, daily content. Rory, of course, updates on Arsenal. He will talk about other clubs sometime in this YouTube career. And also Rory is on Tifo with me as well. We do watch along there. And now you got to look out for Dan's channel in the description because it's all about Chelsea now. Everyone is talking about Chelsea. Dan's channel is in the description, one click away. Let's get Dan How many subscribers are you on then?
2.5.
Let's get him to 5K, people, with your help. Let's get him to 5K. Subscribe to his channel.
Is that 2,500 or just 2.5 people?
Yeah, 2.5 people. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you, everybody that watched that. Thank you for everybody that supported the channel, sent a super chat, hit that like button. You are liking the video now, so we are actually very close, less than 20 now to 400 likes. Appreciate everyone here. This will take you to the top 6, the football terrace, where they're going to discuss Mareska. This is going to be a lit show, a lit show. And we'll see you guys soon, and we are out of here, people.